Elena stood in the center of the grand hall, her heart pounding like a war drum as the eyes of the entire pack bored into her. The flickering torchlight cast long shadows across the stone walls, making the faces of the elders look like carved gargoyles. She could feel the weight of their judgment, but nothing prepared her for the moment Alpha King Darius stepped forward, his massive frame towering over her like a storm cloud. His dark eyes, usually so piercing, were cold as ice tonight. "Elena," he said, his voice echoing through the silence, "I reject you as my mate." The words hit her like a physical blow, stealing the air from her lungs. Gasps rippled through the crowd, but Elena didn't hear them. Her world narrowed to the sharp pain in her chest, the mate bond snapping like a brittle twig. Why? She'd felt it, the pull, the fire ever since she'd come of age in this pack. But Darius, the unyielding Alpha King, just stood there, his jaw clenched, not a flicker of emotion on his chiseled face. He turned away, dismissing her like she was nothing. And the hall erupted in murmurs as guards escorted her out into the freezing night. Tears blurred her vision as she stumbled through the snow-dusted forest, the rejection burning deeper with every step. How could he do this? Elena had always been the quiet one, the healer who mended wounds with gentle hands and a kind word. Misunderstood by the pack, whispered about as too soft for a werewolf's world. But she'd thought Darius saw more in her. Now, abandoned and alone, she collapsed against a tree, her body shaking. The moon hung full overhead, mocking her. Was this it? Her life shattered in one cruel sentence? But as the night deepened, a strange warmth stirred in her veins, something she'd felt before, but pushed down. Whispers in her blood, like ancient voices calling. She pressed her hand to her chest, feeling a pulse that wasn't just her heartbeat. What was happening to her? Days blurred into weeks as Elena fought to survive on the fringes of pack territory. She scavenged for food, built crude shelters from fallen branches, and avoided patrols that might drag her back as a rogue. The rejection had left her wolf weakened, but her human side, the deep, emotional core that made her Elena, pushed her forward. She thought of her late mother, who'd taught her kindness in a world of fangs and claws. Strength isn't always in the bite, her mother had said. But out here, alone, Elena wondered if that was just a lie to comfort the weak. One night, huddled by a small fire, she heard rustling in the bushes. Her senses sharpened, and she grabbed a stick, ready to fight. A lone wolf emerged, injured, its fur matted with blood. Instinct took over. She approached slowly, her hands glowing faintly, a trick she'd discovered since the rejection. The wolf whimpered, but let her touch it. As her fingers brushed its wound, the gash knit together, healing in seconds. Elena pulled back, staring at her palms. This power, it wasn't normal, not for a regular werewolf. What was she? The healed wolf nuzzled her hand before vanishing into the dark. Elena sat there, heart racing. If the pack knew about this, would they have rejected her too? Or was this why Darius had cast her out, to protect her from something bigger? No. She shoved the thought away. He didn't care. He was cold, dominant, the king who ruled with an iron fist. But deep down, in the quiet moments, doubt crept in. Why had his eyes flickered with something like pain during the rejection? Meanwhile, in the heart of the pack's fortress, Darius paced his chambers like a caged beast. The council's demands echoed in his mind. Choose a mate of pure blood, or lose the throne. Elena wasn't from a noble line. She was an orphan, taken in as a pup. But the mate bond had hit him like lightning, awakening feelings he'd buried under layers of control. Rejecting her had been the only way to keep her safe from the council's scrutiny, at least. That's what he'd told himself. Now, regret gnawed at him, a constant ache. He'd sent scouts to watch her from afar, ensuring she survived, but he couldn't approach. Not yet. What if she hated him? What if the bond was truly broken? A knock at the door snapped him from his thoughts. "Sire," his beta said, bowing low. "The council summons you." Rumors of a rogue with unusual powers. Darius's blood ran cold. Elena woke to the sound of howls echoing through the valley. Her fire had died to embers, and the air carried the scent of danger. She bolted upright, her wolf senses tingling. Footsteps crunched in the snow, multiple wolves approaching. Panic surged. Were they here to finish what Darius started? She scrambled to her feet. But before she could run, a massive shadow blocked her path. Darius. His presence hit her like a wave. The broken bond flickering back to life, pulling at her soul. "What do you want?" she whispered, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and fury. his eyes, those dark pools, locked onto hers. The council is hunting you. Come with me, or they'll kill you. Elena's heart stuttered. Hunting her? For what? But as figures emerged from the tree's council enforcers with glowing eyes, she had no choice. Darius grabbed her arm, his touch sending sparks through her skin. Act like you're mine, he growled low, his breath hot against her ear. Or we're both dead. The enforcers circled them, their leader sneering. Alpha King, what's this rogue doing here? Darius pulled Elena close, his arm like steel around her waist. She stiffened, but played along, leaning into him as if it didn't tear her apart. She's no rogue, he said, his voice commanding. She's my chosen. The lie hung in the air, thick with tension. Elena's mind raced. Why was he protecting her now? The enforcers exchanged glances, then backed off with reluctant bows. As they retreated, Darius didn't release her. His grip tightened, and she felt his heartbeat thundering against her back. Don't say a word, he murmured. Not until we're safe. They trekked through the forest in silence, the moon casting silver light on their path. Elena's thoughts swirled. Betrayal, confusion, that damn pull drawing her to him. Every brush of his hand ignited a fire she thought extinguished. But he was still the cold alpha, his face a mask. Was this just duty? Or something more? They reached a hidden cave, warded against intruders. Inside, Darius finally let go, turning to face her. Why? She demanded, her voice breaking. You rejected me, threw me away like trash. He ran a hand through his dark hair, his powerful frame tense. The council forced my hand. Your bloodline, it's not ordinary. If they knew, they'd use you as a weapon. Elena's breath caught. What do you mean? You're a descendant of the Luna healers. Ancient power. I rejected you to hide you. His eyes softened for a split second, regret flashing. But I couldn't stay away. Her heart ached. All this time, she'd thought he didn't want her. Now, the truth hung between them, raw and unfinished. But as he stepped closer, the air crackled with unspoken desire. Could she forgive him? The next days blurred in the cave's seclusion. Darius hunted for food, his dominant nature on full display as he commanded the space. But with Elena, he was different, gentler, almost. He'd watch her heal small wounds on animals that wandered in, his gaze intense. You're extraordinary, he'd say gruffly, then look away as if it cost him. Elena felt the slow burn building. Her kindness drew him out, cracking his emotional walls. One evening, as rain pounded outside, she touched his arm. Why do you keep everything locked inside? He froze, then pulled her into his lap, his hands rough but careful. Because losing control means losing everything. His lips brushed her forehead, sending shivers down her spine. But he stopped, pulling back. We can't. Not yet. Why not? The question hung, suspense thick as the storm. Whispers from scouts reached them. The council was closing in, suspicious of Darius's chosen. They had to return to the hall, face the elders. Elena's powers hummed stronger now, as if awakened by his proximity. Was she ready to reveal herself? The grand hall loomed again, packed with the pack's elite. The council sat on their thrones, eyes sharp. Darius led Elena in, his hand on her lower back, a possessive touch that made her pulse race. Prove she's yours, the head elder demanded. Or we'll take her. Darius's jaw tightened. He leaned in, his lips grazing her ear. The council is watching, so act like you're mine. Elena's breath hitched. She turned, meeting his gaze, and kissed him. Not an act. Real, fierce, pouring all her misunderstood depth into it. The bond reignited, flooding them with heat. The hall faded. It was just them, his dominance meeting her softness in a perfect storm. But as they broke apart, gasps filled the air. Elena's hands glowed, her power surging uncontrollably. The elders rose, alarm in their eyes. She's the healer. Darius pulled her close, protective. She's mine. Touch her, and you die. The confrontation escalated, words flying like arrows. Elena stood tall, her kindness turning to quiet strength. I won't be your weapon, she declared. In the chaos, Darius fought off challengers, his regret fueling his fury. I should have claimed you from the start, he growled to her amid the fray. Their eyes locked, and in that moment, the romance crystallized. He claimed her fully, the mate bond sealing with a howl that shook the hall. They were together, resolved in love's fire.